StoneX has just released its latest quarterly commodities outlook, breaking down the major trends shaping global markets. And one story that continues to capture attention across emerging markets is Argentina's economic shakeup under President Javier Milei. Nearly 2 years into his administration, Argentina has managed to rein in inflation, post a fiscal surplus, and unwind long-standing currency controls. Still, challenges remain as Argentina heads towards crucial midterm elections. I'm Johanna Bota, and here to help us unpack it all is Juan Pablo Vera, research analyst at StoneX. Juan Pablo, great to have you with us.
Okay, good afternoon for you. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
It's a pleasure to have you again. I want to start with the big picture. In what ways has President Milei's economic framework brought greater stability after such a turbulent start?
Okay, let's say that the balance has come mainly from three pillars. Okay, the first one was rapid fiscal consolidation that delivered recurring primary surpluses. The second one, a tight monetary stance that drained pesos from the system. Okay, no more printing. And the third one, a rules-based FX regime that replaced ad hoc controls, okay, as you just mentioned. The fiscal piece is, let's say, it's visible in the ministry monthly surpluses since early 2024, 1.8% of GDP in 2024. It was the first since 2008, and we are expecting something like 1.6% of for this current year. The monetary effects mix help narrow effects gaps and in some way anchor expectation. Together, let's say this moves pull monthly inflation down to sub 2% prints mid-year. It was a dramatic shift from late 2023, as you maybe know, peaking something like 25% monthly in December of that year. Okay, we are talking about monthly figures, 25% in December 2023. These achievements have restored some, let's say, some investor confidence, evidenced by declining country risk spread coming from 2000 approximately 2000 basis BPs to now 1000 BPs. Let's say that the turbulent start has gradually given way to a modest recovery, with GDP growth expected to improve 4% this 2025, coming from 3.5% contraction in 2024.
Okay, as you just actually mentioned, inflation dropped dramatically. Could you tell us more on what is driving this progress, and is it sustainable?
Okay, let's say that the dramatic decline in inflation from 288% year over year in April 2024, to, let's say, roughly 30% currently is a cornerstone of Milei's economic achievement. I dare to say that his main and most valuable attainment, no doubt about it. This inflation has been, let's say, driven by we can talk about hard budget restraint, slower money growth, and a more credible effects framework. Official CPI readings came in at 1.6 in June, 1.9 in July, and recently 2.1% in September. It is a low figure regarding a peso devaluation of roughly 5% in each of last 2 months. So we are talking about 2%. Let's say a lower pass-through. Okay, this is something positive. Sustainability hinges on maintaining fiscal discipline, reduce or non-monetary financing, spending under control, and political support. This is something very, very important because it's something that is to be seen in just 10 days with midterm elections.
Okay, so let's talk about that. Argentina's midterm elections are scheduled for October 26th. What are the main challenges facing Milei's administration as this date approaches?
Okay, I'd say three stand out. Okay, the first one, political arithmetic. Milei still lacks a reliable congressional majority to pass deeper structural reforms. La Libertad Avanza, Milei's party, holds only 15% of seats in Congress, so midterm outcomes will determine the reform speedometer. Number two, effects and reserve management. After liberalizing the market and moving to a ban, authorities must balance flexibility with credibility while rebuilding cautions, okay, reserves. And the third one, growth and social tolerance. Balancing growth and austerity is critical, okay? So disinflation came with weak domestic demand and tight financial condition. However, still keeping social support relatively high, but polarized. Activity and real wage hill is, of course, a delicate trade-off.
Okay, so the peso has been on a volatile path since the FX market unification. Where do you see the peso headed, and how do you see it moving from here?
Well, near term, I expect two-way volatility, but within a policy signal corridor as long as fiscal and monetary anchors hold. April's shift, easing most remaining controls and introducing a managed band with limited intervention, reduce multiple rate distortions and narrow gaps. This was a positive for price discovery. Risks are, let's say, as we mentioned, election-related noise, in terms of trade swings, external shock, and the pace of reserve accumulation. If post-election policy continuity is confirmed, the effects could stabilize with episodic spikes rather than trend depreciation. A loss of policy credibility would reverse that, of course. And having said that, recent US Treasury support was a historic event in itself, is key to achieving this goal.
And one last thing, as we look toward 2026, what's your take where Argentina's economy and investor confidence are headed?
Well, Argentina's economic outlook for 2026 is cautiously optimistic, in my view, with growth, investor sentiment improving, but contingent, of course, on policy continuity, as we just mentioned. The base case would be a gradual recovery as the disinflation gap narrowing story matures and real rates can ease from these restricted levels. After a 3.5% contraction in 2024, growth is expected to reach, let's say, from 3 to 4% growth in 25-26, driven by agriculture, mining, talking about lithium, for example, copper, and energy. In this case, we are focused on Vaca Muerta shale fields. Okay, let's say that inflation is expected to decrease roughly to 20% by the end of 2026. Let's say that the primary fiscal surplus is projected to hold at 1.6% of GDP in 2026, similar to the current year, with a positive but narrowing trade surplus in 2025 compared to last year, but still on a positive looking ahead. Let's say that sentiment is improving about Argentina with our country risk index falling from, as I mentioned, from 2,000 BPs to 900 BPs right now. Of course, this is still a very high figure. To sum up, let's say that if midterm election, of course, strengthen the reform mandate, we could expect market access, that it was a key objective for 2026. More FDI, as I mentioned, coming from energy, mining, agribusiness, and a tighter risk premium. If not, reforms could stall and financing costs stay elevated. All in all, as I mentioned, I am cautiously optimistic about Argentina.
Okay. Juan Pablo, thank you so much again for your time, and thank you to our viewers for watching. For deeper insights and analysis, scan the QR code or click the link in the description to download the quarterly commodities outlook, available now on the StoneX website.